the terrorist.
All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What is going on, Ship It Nation YouTube station? Back with my guy Gyiraszin. Back-to-back days like we are each and every week here. 7 games on DraftKings. Way more than that on FanDuel. So if you're a junkie like Gyiraszin over there, well, sucks for you because usually you're looking at him above you in the leaderboards. But let's go ahead and jump right in here, Gyiraszin. It's Wednesday. We got some day baseball going on. I'm crying in my sorrows after the Brewers shit down my leg two times in a row. But hey, we got two. I got a consolation prize. No extra money in the pocket, but 2 wins in the win column in the division rivalry series there. So helping their cause there to likely win the division. Obviously, they're favorites there. Hopefully, they keep it rolling throughout the end of the year. Pitching's been insane for them. Offense, fuck them. But they're definitely rinse and repeat, right? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 3 times, yeah, I might as well just quit, right? So we'll do our best to talk about obviously the Brewers here. We got no Coors Field on this main slate there, so we don't have to talk about the shitty Boston Red Sox there and Nate Eaton coming out of retirement and dropping 30 fucking DraftKings points at 2,700. So that was pretty cool to see. But our guy Rio, our guy Rio got the job done. Him and Sheets went 1-2 in the flagship last night. 50 stacks for our guy Rio. And then Sheets, like I said, I mean, it was like some tenths of a point between those two that boat raced the entire field in the, I think, at $18, whatever it was last night for 50K to first. So shout out to Rio there. And Sheets continue to smash the MLB game. For the rest of us here, let's see if we can't find our way to the top of the leaderboards here tonight. Gyiraszin, I'll bring you in, man. We're talking about some bowling pre-show. We were talking about your boy Scooball going for the FanDuel slate, which is obviously a big talking point there. But how you doing on this Wednesday afternoon here?
I mean, man, I wish I'd have had a good as night at the DFS streets I had bowling. Like I tell you, I shoot $299 out the gate. Left it a little too far out, front 11. Let it too far out. Came up a little light. Mixed them up on the deck. 7-pin was standing. So, but hey, won a pocket full of cash, so that was fun. But team won some points, good time. So always good times there. But yeah, I mean, Nate's like going back to the Brewers when you were like talking about that. I started thinking to myself, like, man, is this like a situation when you're at the casino and you're at the blackjack table and you just got your ass wiped for like 2 shoes in a row and you already spent like 500, and then like your buddy's still sitting over there, he's hanging in there, and you're like, you got no chips. And they're like, you want to get in? Like, fuck, I'll try it again. And then you pull another 200 or 300 out, and then you get smashed and lose that. And then you walk out of there and think, what the fuck was I doing, man? Like, I literally didn't even have a chance tonight. I got my ass kicked all night. I feel like it's the same kind of thing. But I think it alludes to my whole point, as I always talk about, like why I like hot hitters. I'm not saying the Brewers aren't good, but dude, when they're not hitting, baseball teams go through this. Like, it just happens. They have a week or two. Let them hit a day or so, and then I'll think about it. Like, I like to play teams that are hitting at a certain time, at least like the ones that in the bottom 5, like in the last couple of weeks, I generally try to ignore them. Even like some of the better matchups, let other people try to play them. It's just something, that I just feel like, it's like when I go to a blackjack table at the casino, if you don't walk around and see what kind of chips other people have at the table you're about to sit at, you're pretty much a donkey. Like, if everybody's got a bunch of chips and see like more than they probably cashed in for, well, it seems like a pretty good table to sit at. But if everybody's got like $100 and less in front of them with all red chips, it's probably not a good table because there ain't nobody at the table that has more than they came in with, right, Nate? So it's like common sense, right? Like I feel like it's the same shit that we're playing in baseball today. But I mean, hey, good time, still fun. We get to do it over again today. FanDuel and DraftKings slate, I'll be honest, I play mostly FanDuel. they're way different tonight. The two sites are way different more than I've seen in a long time. Like I'm looking at FanDuel and I'm like, well, shit, Scooball's not even over there. And then it's like, wait a minute, it's just, they don't have the 640 games and they don't have that second game of the doubleheader like DK does. But hey, we got a decent slate, I think. We'll have some fun. Anytime Ohtani's pitching, I usually, this guy's like a generational player. We should all sit back and enjoy Mr. Ohtani as he rolls through his career here, because I don't think we're going to see a dude like this. And I don't think we ever really have. But yeah, so I've kind of like learned in my older age, Nades, like to enjoy. Like I hated Larry Bird, I hated Michael Jordan, I hated all them guys growing up. The hockey, the Rockies. But then you get older, they realize they're good. You just enjoy their, how good they are. So I think it's right with Ohtani. I look forward to Ohtani pitching. Every time he pitches, I enjoy watching him.
Yeah, no, great segue there, taking us into pitcher here. I'm going to go ahead and pull our Slate station up. Our guy was working behind the scenes. Him and I were talking and getting some stuff updated here to make sure, because those damn Cubs and the Mets wanted to throw a wrench into shit with some doubleheaders going on today. So we do have it updated here, and we got the pitchers here up on the screen. We'll go 8K and above here, Gyiraszin. Sean Manaea is slated to start the second game of that doubleheader there with Imanaga as well. 8,300 8K. We're probably going to see maybe some watered down lineups there. Obviously, we're not going to get the hitters lineups because that game is still going on there. All you need to know is Dansby Swanson scored 175 DraftKings points out of nowhere there with the grand slam and the double home run, or the 2 home runs, one of them being the grand slam, I should say there. So do keep an eye out for those lineups there. Overall, as it stands right now, I think Imanaga is a pretty interesting play to me at 8-3, just because I don't think a lot of people play him. We know he's a fly ball guy and struggles with some fly ball issues there, but not that big of an issue here pitching in New York. It is warm there, but it is a pitcher's ballpark. You got 10, 12-mile-an-hour winds, it looks like, kind of blowing in from left field, which should help the case there for some fly ball issues that Imanaga can have. The Mets just aren't a great offense by any means. Juan Soto got injured again yesterday, so him being out of that lineup is going to definitely be for certain here tonight, and that helps the case as well for a guy like Imanaga. So I like him quite a bit as a direct pivot off of probably the highest-owned pitcher on the slate in Trey Yesavage, who you want to talk about a guy who hasn't been good. You talk about the Brewers not hitting as of late. Yesavage has not been pitching well. He had one really good game, and outside of that, you just don't know what you're going to get for this guy. He's going to be the highest-owned guy in the slate as well at 8,400 because of the matchup there against Houston, the right-hander. He's supposed to be good, Gyiraszin. He's shown flashes of being good. He was absolutely electric and incredible that whole postseason last year in the fall. I don't know. I don't love it here. He's probably a guy that I'm not going to play here tonight and just take my chances on the shorter slate. Ohtani all the way up at 11.5 feels pretty expensive on the slate, but we do have a 4K pitcher that is actually a pretty solid pitcher. He does have a leash concern that we'll talk about in a little bit when we get to the value tier. So you can make Ohtani work at 11.5 if you wanted to. For me, though, it's really Gage Jump stands out. It's Imanaga and Gage Jump are kind of the two guys I like the most up in this top tier, 8K and above. Not messing with Manaea. Don't really love Yesavage. It's hard to really X him out of the pool because of the way the pitching slate shakes up and only having 7 games on the docket. But he's a guy I don't love. I'd rather play Ohtani if comparing the two, even with the price discrepancy. And then Joe Ryan at 9,900 against the Dodgers. I'm out on that. I'd rather play the Dodgers offense. So up top, it's really Ohtani, Gage Jump, Imanaga is kind of the 3 guys I'm interested in. Yesavage would be the 4th guy, but I really don't like his ownership. I don't like the recent form. I don't like a lot of stuff about Yesavage there. Talk to me though, 8K and above here.
Yeah, Manaea against the Cubs. I don't want to even go there. I can't see myself clicking that one. Now Shota against the Mets. I do like that. The price 8,300. It's good. We like picking on the Mets. He did just have 2 starts. He only gave up 1 earned run, but I'm not going to get overly excited. It was against the Rockies, for God's sake. So he did have those 2 starts. But before that, man, he was god-awful, as we know. He was not very good. Looking at where he was before, 6, 5, 7, 8 earned runs in those 4 starts before those 2 starts that he was good. So, you know what? Just because he pitched decent in those ones, and it's the Mets, that's pretty much the only reason. I don't think there'd be too many teams, truthfully, Nades, that I feel like that. Yeah, I'd rather have Shohei over than the Met, like anybody else. Like the Mets are one of the teams, like Mets, maybe the Indians, like a couple of them at the bottom here, but the Mets are one team I definitely like picking on. So yeah, I definitely, I think he's more of a pivot though off of a guy like Jump for me. So I do like Jump. I think Jump's one of my favorite. I mean, he gets a good park boost out there in San Francisco. And I mean, he's been good his last few starts. So his walk percentage to the left side is a little bit concerning. He's at 11%. He's at 22.5% strikeouts. So he hasn't really been getting barreled up at all. I mean, he's got a 1.6 barrel rate for righties and a 5.3% barrel rate for lefties. So, I mean, he's been pretty good. I mean, we like the park out there. So he's definitely something, especially at 8,800. Joe Ryan, kind of go back and forth with Ryan. I wouldn't play him on FanDuel, but on DK, getting the discount you get off Ohtani with both of those two pitching against each other, I think is also something too that I do like, them two going against each other. So I think it's a decent. I think Ryan's a decent pivot off of Ohtani if you want the savings, because I do think you could have a lower scoring game. And you look at the Dodger lineup, and there are some strikeouts that Ryan could have here at the back of the lineup with Ward rushing, if Freeland's in there. So I think that's interesting. I don't know if Shohei is going to end up hitting for himself or not. I don't think the last couple games he has hit for himself. He hasn't, has he, Nate?
Yeah, they've been going back and forth. Obviously, we're going to know. I didn't see any alert. Maybe someone in the chat, if you guys can help us out there, if you saw any report that if Ohtani's going to be in the hitter lineup tonight or not. Obviously, you only accrue the pitching points from a DFS perspective, but it does matter from a matchup perspective, especially for a guy like Joe Ryan, who gets barreled up big time by lefties, has some power issues against lefties and fly balls, right? And obviously Ohtani, one of the best, if not the best, left-handed hitter in baseball there. So it does matter from that aspect. So I don't know. No report. Ricky Rose says, yeah, I didn't see anything. So do keep an eye out for that, because if Ohtani's in there, it definitely hurts Joe Ryan's upside and definitely makes his downside a lot more risky when you got a guy like Ohtani who has a 473 ISO against right-handed pitching over the last month, doesn't strike out, puts the ball in play, and just is overall obviously a freak. So I haven't seen that. But if he's out, that does help your argument for a guy like Joe Ryan here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that definitely will help. So, but I think when you get to Ohtani paying the 11.5 against the Twins, I don't mind it. I think it's all right. I think what really is going to help, I mean, as we get to it, I mean, there's a 4K pitcher today. So, I think, that could easily, help with your lineups if you can get, I mean, the kid's got some decent strikeout stuff too, from what I'm understanding. So he was at almost like 30% in AA, went up to AAA. I think he was like 24% or something like that. But we'll get to him down when we get to the 4K range. He might have a little leash on him, but for 4K, as we've said before, like who gives a shit, right? So definitely interesting there. But yeah, there really ain't much up top. I agree with you. Ohtani, Jump, Amanga. I'm not playing you Savage. I can't go there. I'm not there. I think Ryan, for me, I'd leave him in, especially if there's no Ohtani. That's for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't love Joe Ryan here. I think when you look at the props, right? You look at Joe Ryan's props, 5.5K prop. It is juiced to the over at -148, so that checks out. But I'm getting that same K prop at a fraction of the ownership in Imanaga. I mean, Imanaga -122 over 5.5. Same thing there. Between Ohtani and Joe Ryan, the better props are on Joe Ryan, actually, because of the back half of that lineup, right, that you alluded to, especially if Freeland's in there, which I assume he would be against the right-handed pitcher. You got rushing. If he's back in that lineup, like you said, he's the strikeout risk there. So there is guys, but the top half, I mean, I'd rather pick on the Twins lineup with a better pitcher, in my opinion, than pick up on the Dodgers lineup. Because, I mean, you still have Freddie Freeman who's getting going. Mookie's been better. Kyle Tucker's starting to hit a little bit. It's really Jump, Imanaga are the two guys that I'm really interested in, and then Ohtani just from a sheer upside perspective. But really, I don't think you need to play either Ohtani, Joe Ryan, and I'm definitely not playing you Savage here tonight either. So I come to conclusion with Gage jumping, Shota Imanaga, and then there's some cheaper guys that I think are really viable on this slate. Let's jump down below 8K. Martin Perez looks pretty interesting to me. He's not a great pitcher by any means, but the way the pitcher slate shakes up, he's 7,500 pitching in San Diego against that lineup. I'll take my chances there. I played much worse guys. J.R. Ritchie is shitty as he has. He started that game and looked unhittable until it wasn't, and the wheels fell off there. But I think Martin Perez is pretty interesting here at 7,500. I like him quite a bit. Drohan, 6,500. My guy Brandon Sproat dunked on everybody yesterday at 6K. And Drohan, he's not a great pitcher by any means, but that Reds, I mean, anytime the Reds are on the slate, more times than not, you're going to have a pitcher that has a ceiling game against them just because of how much they strike out. Now, the downside is they always play, obviously, their home games in one of the best hitting environments on any given night, and they do have when they hit Gyiraszin, it feels like they hit in a big way. It's either 2 runs or 14 runs. It doesn't really feel like they have any in between. He's 6,500 though on a slate where, let's face it, outside the top tier, Ohtani and Joe Ryan, I mean, pitching's pretty gross in general. I mean, you got a chalky Savage who hasn't been great by any means, right? So I think Drohan's pretty interesting. And then we have a cheap 4K guy. He does have a big-time pitch concern, probably looking at around 60 to 70 pitches here, Gyiraszin. But if you look at his we're talking about Mitch Bratt here, or Brat, however you pronounce it. You look at his minor league stuff. Obviously, we haven't seen him in the majors yet. He's coming up. 22-year-old prospect. He had about a 29% K rate in the minors. Had really good command, really good control. Now, usually when we see stuff like that in the minors, it doesn't fully translate over to the majors here. But he's 4K on a slate where Ohtani's 11.5, and we have expensive Brewers bats to pay up for. We have the Dodgers on the slate. We have bats that we can go out and get. I don't know if you necessarily need the salary savings for him, but I think, I mean, he is at least in the conversation from a pitcher standpoint. His projection is off the charts. He's projected for right around 11 fantasy points at 4K, which is much higher than almost all of the 4K, if not all of the 4K hitters on this slate. So talk to me on how you're approaching the 4K Mitch Bratt, who seems to be like a pretty solid prospect, pretty solid overall pitcher. Pitch count is going to be the concern there, but at 4K, it's not like you're playing a guy to go 7 innings and give you a shutout. Talk to me here.
Yeah, I mean, we'll start with Bratt, whatever he is. But I think the matchup there at 4K, he did come off the IL. It looked like he had some back issues or something. So, but yeah, I mean, I would assume his back is probably feeling better. I'd just be concerned, if there's any kind of an issue or, him overdoing it and messing himself up. So, I mean, I guess last time out, he only threw 48 pitches in his warm-up start. So I am concerned too, as you said, but at 4K, I mean, let's just say he gets us. Sproat had 10 Ks yesterday. I mean, let's just say this kid gets us 5 or 6 Ks. Like at 4K, I'm like, man, I don't even care if he gives up a run or two. Like that's kind of keep you in the game. So I don't mind that at all. So I mean, I'd leave him in. I wouldn't go overboard, but I'd leave him in, Nades. Like I'd have a couple lineups with them. Drohan, as you mentioned, I think is another guy I'm interested in with the Reds here. And I brought up Sproat earlier because I wanted to say like the cheaper pitchers down below can get the job done and can get you, Ks. And, and I think this range today, we could see another Brandon Sproat type, performance today. I mean, Drohan's capable of it as well. I mean, this kid's got a pretty good arm too. So, the Reds, same kind of situation yesterday, looked like shit. But I think Bratt's interesting because he has the strikeout pedigree, like you said. He was in the minors pretty good. He wasn't walking any guys, so he's either striking them out I didn't get to see if he's more of a ground ball type lean or more of a fly ball type lean pitcher, but I mean, whatever. I mean, he's 4K. It's not like we're paying 65. He's 4K. And then Drohan too, 65. I think that's a great price. Then moving up, I swear, I think one of my favorite pitchers on the slate is Martin Perez. I think his skill set is ground balls, right? Like he's never really been a strikeout type pitcher. His strikeouts are up this year. He's 22% to the left side, 20% to the right side. His walk percentage, 9% to the right side. Not really happy with that. His WOBA to both sides of the plate are under 300, which are good. 286, 271 to the right. Fly ball percentages are low, but we like his ground ball rates, like 55% to the left side, 46% to the right side. You go over here and you look at these Padres, man, they're all beating the ball into the ground. They may be worse than the Brewers. Like, I mean, 46% for Tatis. If this Taylor guy's in there, he's 62%. Machado 39, Andujar 56. Bogart's 56, Ty France 60%. All these dudes have extreme high ground ball rates. I mean, Martin Perez, to me, we get a weak hitting team hitting in the dirt, and we get a good ground ball pitcher who's been pitching pretty well at his old ass age. I think he's like almost 40 now. Like it seems like dude's been around forever. But yeah, I think he's definitely in play for me. So his K props 4.5. I don't mind that. The Padres aren't projected for 4 runs. I think everything lines up for me. So Perez would be one of the guys I think is my favorite pitcher to pair up with, like maybe an Amanga or a Jump. And if you want to pay up and maybe got some salary left and you want to jump up to like an Ohtani, or if you want to mix Ohtani with Bratt, I mean, at that point, you're only really paying what, 15.5 for 2 pitchers. That's what, 70, so quick math, 77.5 each. Like, I mean, I don't mind that at all. So I think there's a couple different ways you can go at pitching, even though with the 14 guys we have options for, I would cross out probably more than half of them today for sure. So I think pitching's a little bit more condensed. I think there's enough offense we can get different. But I kind of like the slates when you got a high-end price pitcher, Nades, and then you got that tempting 4K guy down here, right? Like, oh, man, I can do that. So, I think, I think it's in line. I wouldn't go overboard with it. My favorite 2, if you were to, ask me, I think would be Jump and Perez, I think are my 2 favorite pitchers. And I think that would be different right off the bat.
Yeah, so I do want to bring up number 1, Tyler Mahle, just because I don't have interest in him personally. I put him in kind of the same category as Trey Savage. They're getting ownership because of their price and the matchups, right? I'm not a Tyler Mahle guy. I didn't believe it last year, and he did it the whole season. He hasn't gone back to that. I'm out on Tyler Mahle at 6,700 when I can play Drohan for 65, $200 less. He's going to be a fraction of the ownership. He's still going to get played, but Tyler Mahle was hitting all of the optos. It was Savage and Mahle is the big combination for kind of cash game projections driven. 40% Mahle, 72% Savage with Brewer stacks, Brewers and Mets, right? So for me, I'm out on him. My pitcher pool would be looking like Drohan, Martin Perez, Imanaga, Gage, Jump, Ohtani, and Bratt. Those are kind of the main guys I'm looking at there. And don't even love Ohtani either at the top end. And I think you can, like you said, I think you can get away with a guy like Drohan and a Perez combination at 6,500, 7,500. You can do whatever the hell you want in terms of offense there. And you don't have to go in and full stack and stay to a 5-3, right? You could definitely do like a 4-2-2 or something and get some 2 high-powered one-offs, right? Or expensive 2-man stack, right? So, something like that. So that's kind of where I'm looking at from pitcher. And yeah, I agree with you. I'm crossing off more guys than I'm actually playing here tonight. And it feels gross leaving out guys like Joe Ryan and Ohtani up at the top, but I think there's enough downside risk, and props would also indicate that. I mean, Ohtani's got a 6.5K prop, but it's heavy juice at the under, which is the same when you look at it then at 5.5 of a guy like Imanaga at 8,300, and he's 11.5, right? So just little things like that I tend to look at when I'm trying to do a deep dive into pitcher here. Obviously, Ohtani, has the highest ceiling on the slate. He's the best arm on the slate. He's up there in the Cy Young voting. He's a freak, but he's 11,500 on a slate where I think we can get away with some cheaper arms overall. So that's kind of how I see it. Let's jump over here and let me refresh our stone, and we're going to go ahead and talk hitting on this slate now. So with so many guys we're crossing off from pitching standpoint here, offense is pretty solid on the slate. Obviously, the Brewers are a clear-cut stand-up, offense, but I think there is a couple different ways you can go on this slate here. First game on the docket, Blue Jays and the Astros. Mike Burrows on the mound, Trey Savage. Savage is going to be the highest owned pitcher on the slate. Definitely a cash game staple. Yordan Alvarez, I think, is the elite one-off on the slate. He's the best hitter in baseball this season. Really, really good. Obviously, the Blue Jays do have a really good bullpen behind them. Savage does have potential, so I don't want to go crazy here stacking. I think we could just do enough to get off of Savage. I think that's enough, but I won't hate picking off definitely a Yordan one-off. I think is really interesting. Leave off a Yelich in your Brewer stacks and play a Yordan, or leave off a Jackson Chourio, play a Yordan instead of him. Something like that I think is a really interesting way to build here tonight. Yordan, Paredes, Altuve, Pena would be kind of the main guys I'm looking at there. Savage has been walking a shit ton of guys this year, giving up fly balls to the left side, but he really doesn't allow a ton of power. So talk to me. How do you see offense in this one?
Yeah, I'm not interested in really attacking Savage. If I just wouldn't play him. I'm not going to double down on it. But as far as some of these Blue Jays go against Burrows, I think I would leave it in my pool. I mean, I don't overly love it. I mean, I think for what we're looking at today in the offense, I think it's interesting. I mean, he hasn't been very good against lefties at all. So I think Dalton Varsho is a really good play here. I mean, as far as lefties go, he's 15%. He's been walking quite a few lefties. He's at like an 11.5%. His WOBA's up at 416. Barrel rate's at 11.5%. So I'm sure Lucas will be up there pretty high in that lineup. And then Varsho, I think, is interesting. And then, I mean, even Jimenez, if you want a cheap shortstop and you want to top it off with like a Springer or a Guerrero, I don't mind that at all. I don't mind that stack. So I think the Blue Jays would be in play. I don't have them like in my top. I do think, like you mentioned, Brewers and a couple other teams maybe I have a little higher up, but Blue Jays for me for sure would be in play today against the Astros, which we don't mind attacking the Astros pitching staff.
Yeah, I think the Blue Jays definitely have a spot on the slate. They're going to be owned, but they're not going to be near the ownership a team like the Brewers obviously there. So I typically don't play this Toronto offense very much. The ballpark's not the best for hitting. But I do like your call. Luke's is batting second. Think he's solid. Varsho is solid. Davis Schneider's actually been hitting right-handed pitching really well, and Burrows does give up some power to right-handed hitters too, along with some fly balls. Schneider's got a 308 ISO over the last month against right-handed pitching. Obviously, very limited sample there. Doesn't really strike out either. Puts the ball in play. So I think you could definitely get there. Okamoto at a third base position as well, which is pretty weak, typically night in and night out, especially with guys like J-Ram on the IL. I know they're not on the slate, but third base is just overall usually a really weak position. We do have Max Muncy there tonight and stuff like that. But I do think the Blue Jays much prefer the Blue Jays side in terms of stacks, even though I'm way underweight on Trey Savage here. I do think Yordan Alvarez is an elite play on this slate, though, especially going up against Savage, who's going to be ultimately end up the highest owned hitter the pitcher on the slate, all things considered. Next game here is the second leg of the doubleheader here, the Mets and the Cubs. The Cubs had 10 runs last time I looked on the back of Dansby Swanson. Not sure in terms of what the lineups are going to look like for this match up here. PCA is red hot right now. Lefty, you don't love that. But do think he's still a solid play here. In terms of Manaya, You want righties against Manaea. He's really good against lefties, really bad against righties. So Matt Shaw, Suzuki, Carson Kelly, Swanson, if those guys are back in there, I think that 7, 8, 9 stack, Swanson might pick up some more ownership, but I don't really know how many people pay attention to day baseball and a doubleheader on a Wednesday afternoon, Gyiraszin, and roster Dansby Swanson, who usually hits 7th, 8th, or 9th, somewhere in that realm. I like the back half of this Cubs stack here. The Matt Shaw, the Carson Kelly, the Swansons of the world. Obviously, you can throw PCA in there too, because Manaea is probably not going to be in there super long. He averages right around 60 pitches or so. I think the Cubs are pretty interesting here as well. They got the sticks rolling. They're still a good offense. You talk about liking hot hitters. Maybe they got the job. Maybe they keep it rolling here. I know some people are saying fatigue in the chat from running all those bases. I'm not really worried about that, but I do like Suzuki, Shaw, Kelly, Swanson for sure. And then PCA is red hot right now. Talk to me, Cubs and the Mets.
Yeah, I mean, I just fear the Cubs a little bit. Manaea actually hasn't been bad. I mean, his last 9 starts, he hasn't had one that's gone over 2 earned runs, and he's been, like you said, in the mid 60 pitches. But his last 2 starts, he's gone up in pitches. I was kind of looking at that. He was right in the 60s, like you said, for 6, 7 starts in a row. But his last start, 95. His start before that, he had 84. So maybe he's finally stretched out. They got him. They feel comfortable with that. And he's been right around that 5-inning mark. So with him not getting all beat up all that much, I am a little bit concerned about that. We know the Mets bullpen is actually decent. So, I am a little concerned about the Cubbies, because I'd rather see the Cubbies go against a righty than a lefty, because now I feel like I'm relying on Bregman, more. And I don't know. It just kind of bugs me. But, I mean, Suzuki's good. Happ, I don't mind. Swanson, as you mentioned, we'll have to see how this lineup comes out. But, I don't really love it all that much just because, man, Manaea just hasn't been bad. He's not been getting hit that hard. He's not been getting beat up. So I think that's a concern. You got that bullpen coming behind him. As you mentioned, second half of a doubleheader. And you just kind of think in your mind when you see these doubleheaders, it really feels like you really see 2 softball games in a row. It's like one's a softball game and the next one's like a, let's get the hell out of here, swing at whatever, kind of thing. It's like they got to work a double shift and work, none of us like to do that shit. So, I am a little concerned about it, but I'd leave him in play. I think that's just more of a personal feeling, but just because I don't want to pick on Manaea. But yeah, I mean, I see why somebody would have him ranked higher. I just don't love it myself.
Yeah, I just think, Carson Kelly's red hot right now. Swanson's obviously red hot. Shaw is super cheap at a pretty weak position there. So I like more the mini stack than a full stack just because Manaea is really, really good and really tough on lefties. He's terrible against righties. I mean, this goes back to last year and definitely this year. I mean, against righties this year, 19% K rate, 191 ISO. Doesn't keep the ball on the ground, gets barreled up right around 10%. So you're looking at guys like Suzuki, Kelly, Shaw, Swanson. Those guys have a ton of power against left-handed pitching. So those would be the guys I look at. On the Mets side, don't really have any interest in Manaea, one of my favorite pitchers on this slate. If you wanted to pick off a cheap power guy like Wegman, if he's in that lineup, he wasn't in it yesterday against lefty. He might be in there on the second leg of the back-to-back. Marcus Semien, Alvarez, something like Vientos, just the guys that hit lefties well, but I think there's much better spots overall on this slate than messing with that. Takes us to the next game here, Brewers and the Reds. Deja vu, do it again. They're going to have more ownership than they had the last 2 nights because there's no Coors Field on the slate. Brewers highest implied run total on the slate. Really, really good matchup. They got a right-hander who's not good against lefties. The Brewers have one of their better lineups out there with Yelich, Churio, Turang, Contreras, Bauer's back in there, Mitchell, Frelick, Pratt, and then my guy Hamilton, who's a DFS cheat code at the back half there. Brewers, I mean, not much more to say. I don't want to slobber on them again because they shit the bed. They scored negative fantasy points, it felt like the last 2 nights. At least that's what my lineups look like at the bottom of the leaderboards. Talk to me here, though. Lauder is absolutely horrendous against lefties. He's not the best against righties, but he's atrocious. He's got a higher walk rate damn near than a strikeout rate to the left side, gives up a ton of power, a ton of barrels. We know the Brewers are really, really good against right-handed pitching. And then talk about that bullpen. The Reds bullpen did get better when they brought in Julian Garcia. They called him up. Or not Garcia. Who's the guy who started yesterday? Nonetheless, they used two arms yesterday that aren't going to be available. They threw 35 and 34 pitches. And then the back half of that bullpen we know is horrendous, right? So the Brewers can't do it today. They're not going to ever do it. It feels like they are going to be owned as such. They're going to be the most popular stack on the slate. There's definitely merit to fading them. I've personally been damn near all in on them the last two nights, so it's hard for me to jump off. But there is clear-cut downside here because they're not hitting right now, and they're going to be the most popular stack on the slate. So don't need me to really tell you that or anybody. Everybody across the industry is going to say the Brewers are the best overall stack on the slate. Your argument is ownership here. Talk to me in this one in Great American Small Park here. Temperatures right around 80 degrees, some slight wind blowing out.
I mean, like I said, you want to go back to the Brewers. That's like getting your ass kicked a couple slates of blackjack and saying, go out, do it again. And you pull some more money out. Sometimes it works. Most times it doesn't seem to work. But like you said, Lauder's been real bad. I mean, we can laugh about the strikeout rate only being 0.7 points higher than his walk rate to lefties, which is just horrendous. I mean, almost a 15% barrel rate. We've talked about it all season. You know, like we like the Brewers against the righty, and especially a guy who's a fly ball pitcher. This dude's at 37% fly ball rate to lefties. I mean, he's getting barreled up, like we said, almost 15%. So definitely interested in some Brewers. But then you think, man, they've kind of got me twice here. They're going to be a little bit more chalky. Now, I will say on FanDuel, I see here that James here was asking about the Phillies stack with the Brewers. I got to assume that's on FanDuel because the Phillies are not on DK. But I'll tell you, on FanDuel, I have the Brewers third. I think I like the Phillies and Nationals better than I do the Brewers. So me being over on FanDuel tonight, those are kind of some teams I'm focusing on a little bit more than the Brewers. But on DK, I can see it. To me, on DK, they'd be probably my favorite stack here today, but just because of some of the ownership, you know, the way they've been looking here in recent times, you know, I mean, that could be reason enough if I got three teams instead of them being on maybe two of the three of my teams, maybe they're only on one, you know, but all I'm saying is I am a little bit more concerned with the way their recent times. I do put more into that probably than most. I do like playing hitters that are hot, you know, just so forth, recency bias, 4 or 5 games, that does play in for me. You never know what's going on upstairs in a dude's head. A computer optimizer doesn't know that, right? So I just kind of always believe in that over the year. But I see he says his stacks for the turbo slate on there. But yeah, I mean, that's what I would do, James, is stack up, you know, maybe the Nats. If Brewers you can keep in there. I mean, I don't mind that at all. I think it's a good way to go. But yeah, I mean, I don't want any Reds. I'm not interested in picking on the kid. I actually like Drohan a little bit more. But, yeah, I mean, Brewers are in there for sure. Everything lines up for us to like the Brewers. So except when Nades and I both like them, it seems like it's, you know, shit's to bed. Whenever I give Nades shit for the Brewers and I say I don't like it, that's probably some of the times it seems like it's been working out a little bit. But, I mean, I'm consistent with it. I don't like him against a ground ball pitcher, and I don't like him against the lefty. But I do like him against a righty, and I really like him against a righty that's a fly ball pitcher. And that's what we got today, Nate.
Yeah, that's what we got today. I will say there is a little bit more interest. I think you could actually game stack this one up here, just the way the offense shakes up here tonight. I do like Drohan quite a bit as well. He's a good pitcher, keeps the ball on the ground. You got a good bullpen behind him, but it is a pretty taxed bullpen. Uribe's also serving his suspension here tonight for the Brewers. So that's one of the better arms. Obviously at the back half of that pen, but I don't think he was going to pitch or be available here tonight anyways. That's probably why they said, hey, yeah, we'll serve his suspension here tonight. He throw in the last 2 days. He's not going to throw today anyways. Ashby's thrown 3 of the last 4 days. So you are going to get probably some lesser arms coming out of that pen, especially after they won the first 2 games of the series. I don't really think it's going to matter too much because they should have some run support. So that does help the case, though, on the red side because you're not going to see the best arms. I don't expect this to be a super close game. At least I hope not. And if it's a close game, your stacks are dead anyways, right? So guys like Nove Marte, who has a shit ton of power against righties, Spencer Steer, ton of power, Matt McClain, who's been really, really good over the last month, Eugenio Suarez at third base against Sal Stewart. I don't really like Ellie hitting from the right side a ton, but obviously he's not going to hit from the right side probably the whole duration, the entire game. He's back. So I do think the Reds are pretty interesting as well, and I think you can game stack this up. A lot of people game stacked it yesterday. I think you can go right back to the well here. But I much prefer the Brewers side, as does everyone. I did want to call out a couple of those Reds guys, though, because I think there are pretty interesting, and Drohan is not going to be unowned on the slate either. So you do have that. And talked about the bullpen being pretty taxed overall for the Brewers, and one guy being unavailable. Next spot on the slate, Dodgers and the Twins. We don't know if Ohtani's going to be in there hitting. We have him projected in there. I haven't seen an updated report. So there it is. Ohtani's batting leadoff. So Ohtani is in there. Pages, Freeman, Betts, Muncy, Call, Ward, Rushing, Freeland. So you do get those strikeout guys at the back half there, but you still have Ohtani, Freeman, those guys up at the top. So no Tommy Edman in there. Overall, Dodgers look like a pretty good stack here to me as a contrarian option, just because I don't think outside of the Brewers, there's really not a ton of high-powered offenses here that are in what feels like can't-miss spots. So I think you could attack a guy like Joe Ryan, who does struggle with some lefty power. He is one of the better arms on the slate, so there is downside, but you do have that Twins bullpen, which we know is not good behind Joe Ryan. If Ohtani, Freeman, these guys can get him out of the game, you could see some late inning success, and that's enough to win a slate where I expect it to be more lower scoring than we've seen with no Coors Field on the slate. Talk to me. How do you see the Dodgers and the Twins here?
Yeah, I'm not playing any. I'm not going to play any Twins against Shohei. That's for sure. I'm not even thinking about that one. But I mean, if you wanted to go against Ryan, I mean, you could do that. I mean, it is one of the better hitting teams. It just sucks you can't have Shohei as a hitter to put into your stack. So you're kind of taking out, like, you know, the best part of it, actually, which isn't all that great. But I mean, you could use them as little minis. I don't mind if you wanted to do that, like a 3-stack mini stack. I don't mind that at all. But you know, I think there's other stacks here I like today. It just doesn't seem like the day to be picking on Joe Ryan. I mean, he has been getting barreled up, though. I mean, lefty's been getting at him. He's at a 12% barrel rate so far this year. His fly ball rate is higher too, so in the 30%. So I mean, they could get to him. They could hit some homers off of him. Don't get me wrong. I mean, on the other side, you know, as I mentioned when I was talking about playing him, I mean, he's just got some strikeout upside, and that upside at the back of that lineup definitely has some strikeouts in it. And you know, I think I usually like two good pitchers when they're dueling each other. Usually they feed off each other, and I think you're going to see that here tonight. So I think I'm kind of out on the offenses on both sides. But, I mean, I think these two guys here, I mean, I don't know what the over-under is in the first, 5 innings. But, if it's 4.5, something like that, because what's the game total is an 8. So I'm going to guess it's probably 4.5 nades. I mean, I think that's a decent bet, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I will say there is double-digit wind blowing out here, and it is mid to upper 70. So it is going to play above average, more so than it normally does in Target Field here tonight. And Joe Ryan is a fly ball guy. So Freeman, Ward, I know Ward either strikes out or probably has a potential to hit for some power and hit a home run. So Freeman, Ward, Muncy, Rushing, and even Freeland for that matter, I think are interesting. But really Rushing, Muncy, Ward, and Freddie Freeman. I'm looking at those lefty power bats there. Probably better as a mini stack, like you said, 2 or 3 man stack. But I think in like a 4-3 build, something like that, going those 4 lefties for the Dodgers there, even in throwing a guy like Mookie Betts, who's been better and putting balls in play. So yeah, I definitely have more interest in the Dodgers just because this is going to play above average. It's the second best hitting environment on the slate behind Great American Small Park. And you got wind blowing out against a fly ball guy in Joe Ryan here. So yeah, I have interest in a low owned Dodgers on a 7-game slate. Which is the best offense in baseball. and a bad bullpen behind a good pitcher, but he's not bulletproof either. And he ranks pretty low in our pitcher rankings overall. So all things point to me on the Dodgers side, not messing with any Twins hitters either against Ohtani. Next spot, Cardinals, D-backs, Mitch Bratt on the mound. Cardinals are going to go with Liberatore, I believe. Or not, no, excuse me. Yeah, Liberatore. Liberatore has not been good this season. I think the D-backs are really interesting here. The issues, they've just been so bad in terms of power. They don't strike out, though, against left-handed pitching. Ketel Marte, I think, is one of the better plays on the slate. You got a cheap guy in Tommy Troy with a ton of power against lefties. And then Corbin Carroll even hits lefties really well. Those three guys in particular, I think, are interesting. Gabriel Moreno hits lefties usually pretty solid overall as well. And then so does Vargas, too. I think the D-backs are up there on my list in my rankings here. Cardinals bullpen, not good behind Liberatore. Liberatore, up and down. He's not been good, though, overall on the season. Yeah, he's got some strikeouts to the left side, but against righties, he's not good. Gives up a lot of power to both sides. I think the D-backs are pretty interesting here overall. Cardinals side, a little bit of an unknown, but you're not going to see Bratt go probably more than 65, 70 pitches at absolute most. Obviously, only 3 in the 40s. His first start off the IL there. He does have a strikeout potential. Doesn't really walk. Doesn't go crazy. D-backs do have a solid bullpen behind him. So don't love the Cardinals overall, but Nootbaar, Herrera, Weatherholt's been red hots. Those are kind of the guys you're looking at. It'd be better if Burleson was in this lineup. He's not in there. That does help the reasoning for a guy like Mitch Bratt. Talk to me in this one. It's more D-backs interest for me. How do you see it?
I agree with you with the D-backs. Shit, D-backs are top 3 team in all of MLB and OPS against left-handed pitching. So, yeah, I mean, I think, and you mentioned Liberatore has not been very good. So I think he's definitely some guy that we want to attack tonight. I mean, last time out, Liberatore gave up, 5 earned runs. He's given up 4 the time before that, 3 before that. I mean, he's given up 5 homers his last handful of starts. So, yeah, I mean, the D-backs for me are definitely – I put the D-backs pretty much in the same bucket as the Blue Jays. Like, I got them up there. So, D-backs for me are definitely in play. I really like them, actually. I think Hernando is another guy you could play. Always hit them well. Troy's a cheap outfielder you could add. Marte can hit. Perdermo. I think all of them are in play today. Gurriel just hasn't been doing nothing. I just think he's kind of been taking up space and oxygen. He's just the guy that I'm not really overly whelmed to click his name. You know, he's cheap as shit, but I can't do it. So I'm not going there. And as far as the St. Louis batters, I mean, dude, we got a 4K guy, right? We don't really know what we're getting. It's his first start. He could be shitting his pants going out in the hill. We've seen some of the best pitchers in baseball come out and not do well in their first handful of starts. I mean, I'm sure it's very nerve-wracking being out in that mound all alone. Everybody's staring at you, trying to get that ball over the plate. So, you never know. I mean, it's definitely in play. I mean, I think that's kind of a thing. Like maybe if you got 20 teams and you play a couple Bratts, well, maybe you have a Cardinals or 2. So I don't mind that. I just don't have it all high ranked up, especially on FanDuel for me. So I'm not interested in that. But D-backs for me, I definitely like.
Yeah, the guys I look at for the Cardinals, I do think the Cardinals have a place on the slate just because they've been a good offense. It's a rookie making his debut in the majors. Things can go south. I just don't love then playing the platoon and matchups from the bullpen aspect where it is a solid bullpen, but Velasquez hits lefties well. Walker, Herrera, Blaze Jordan. You do have guys in here who you can definitely play. And then Weatherholt obviously doesn't strike out ever. So he'll put balls in play there. So yeah, I get the take for the Cardinals. I much prefer the D-backs though overall. Last 2 games on the slate, we have the Braves going into San Diego. JP Sears, a fly ball guy. Braves, kind of interesting. Don't love them usually against lefties though because their best hitters at the top half do hit from the left side, and Noah Acuna in that lineup does hurt against lefties. Even a guy like a JP Sears. Probably not enough to play a guy like JP Sears at 7,300 when you have Martin Perez on the other side there, 7,500. We have cheaper guys like a Drohan and then a 4K pitcher. So JP Sears probably doesn't make the cut for a good reason from a pitching standpoint. I don't love this game from offense on either side, though. Martin Perez, one of my favorite, if not my favorite overall pitcher on the slate, points per dollar adjusted there. How do you see this game, though, offense, Atlanta and San Diego?
Man, I really want to like picking on JP Sears here, but A, I hate the bullpen behind it. It's scary. B, I don't really care for the park. And C, I mean, if we got the Braves in our lineups, obviously we want to see a righty, but Sears has been shit, man. Like, he has not been good. So I'm, as you said, more of a fly ball pitcher, gets barreled up, but when you look at the righties you would want, I mean, Dubon, I'm okay with that. I mean, Riley hasn't really been doing good. And then, you're looking at some pinch hit risk and Eli White, Mateo down there at the bottom. I mean, when I'm not going to play like Baldwin or, Harris, Olsen at the top of that lineup where most of their power is, I feel like I'm taking out like half of the, I'm dropping my 8-cylinder down to a 4-cylinder, Nate. That's what I kind of feel like, I mean, it gets you there, but it may not get you there quick. So, I mean, I just don't know. I think I'd leave the Braves in maybe. I just I don't love it. I think they're in play. They got a place. But like I said, they got a couple flags up near for me. The park, the bullpen, and I really don't like that much of the power they have on the right side. But I think they can get to Sears. The question is, are they going to get them twice through the lineup if they're lucky? I mean, he may only go 1.5 times through the lineup, and they might just yank his ass right out.
Yeah, actually, now looking at it, I do think the Braves are more interesting than I originally thought because Kyle Hart threw 45 pitches yesterday. Matsui threw 35 yesterday, 52 in the last 3, 56 for Hart in the last 3. Mason Miller threw 22 yesterday, 20 on Monday. He's at 42 pitches in the last 3 days. All 3 of those guys are unavailable. Peralta opened the game yesterday with 13 pitches. Usually he doesn't go back-to-back because they like to use him as an opener. So I don't know if he's available. And then you got the guys at the back half where. So it is a very, very, very taxed bullpen. I know they're still good against arguably probably one of the worst starting pitchers on the slate, just with the recent form we've seen last year. I mean, you look at this year, we haven't seen him yet this season, but last year, 240 ISO to both sides of the plate, almost a 40% fly ball rate, getting barreled up by both sides. So guys like Eli White, Ozzie Albies, who murders left-handed pitching. Matt Olson is not quite Jordan lefty, but he hits lefties very, very well. Doesn't strike out. Mateo has stolen base upside and can hit for some power against lefties. Dubon's been red hot. Michael Harris even hit lefties pretty good over the last month. I do have a lot more interest actually looking at it in the Braves than I originally did, just because it's the way the slate shakes up and how taxed that bullpen is. But the ballpark, it also sucks. So there's kind of, I don't know. I can see a path where the Braves could be the highest. I mean, if they go out there and score you 7 runs, that might be enough on the slate because we already talked about the Brewers chalk is pretty fragile just based on how they've been hitting. Obviously, on paper, it's the best spot on paper overall, but just because it's the best spot on paper doesn't mean it's going to come to fruition at the end of the night. And we're playing top-heavy, large field tournaments. I do think the Braves are a little bit more intriguing just because how taxed that bullpen is when they used, I mean, the Padres used 6 arms yesterday in that game.
The other thing, Nades, I just noticed that game's at 8:40. So that's really a 5:40 start. So that's an hour earlier. And I don't mind the Padres stadium in day games. Like, it's way better in the day, but I said it before, I got laughed at. That marine layer comes in off the ocean, and it makes the air heavier. The ball don't fly as much, especially, when the sun starts dropping. I mean, so they're going to get an hour extra of daytime baseball. So I think that really does kind of factor into. Now, I'll be honest, like playing on FanDuel, I have the Braves further down the list. I have them bumped up a little higher on DK. But, I mean, especially as we kind of talk through it here. But I think it's interesting, and I think that does matter, that extra hour that you're going to get there in San Diego. I think that's a bigger deal than we actually might be putting into it.
Yeah, I mean, just because Canning left that game in this, second inning yesterday. So they had to literally rely on their bullpen to get them through 7 innings of baseball against one of the better offenses on paper and facing these guys, right? So I think the Braves are, the more I talk myself into it, it's probably the wrong thing to do. But after really diving in, looking at it, the point you bring up with it being an hour earlier than normal because it's the Wednesday, or the Wednesday slate of games, right? Where normally it's more day baseball than nighttime to give these guys a rest for the Thursday to then go into their weekend series, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I do have a lot more interest than I originally planned in the Braves here. And I think they're kind of probably, I obviously have the Brewers up there. I have the D-backs up there, Blue Jays. The Braves are kind of pretty close there with teams like the Dodgers for me. And the Dodgers are facing a much better starting pitcher. So Braves are probably 4th or 5th on my list here tonight, actually looking at it. Last spot on the slate here, we head out to San Fran. Tyler Mahle going to be popular just because of his price and the projection. I don't think this dude's been good. He's been absolutely atrocious over the last month for sure. I know that for certain. 15% K rate, 15% walk rate. That's only 20 plate appearances, so you can't really take much of that. But you look at the current season, below average K rate arm with some power, some fly balls to the left side. Nick Kurtz, Soderstrom, Cortez, Butler. Some of these lefties I think you can pick off here. And we know the ballpark sucks, so I don't love going in on a full stack on the A's, who have not been that great either. I do think on this kind of slate, though, I have them behind teams like the Dodgers and the Braves, probably even the Reds, but I do think you can pick off some guys, definitely a Nick Kurtz and a Soderstrom, those two guys in particular. Talk to me to round up the slate.
I don't mind the A's. I'd put them behind the D-backs. I wouldn't put them. I think I like the D-backs and the Blue Jays a little more. But I think the A's are in a decent spot. Mahle sucks, as you said. I hate the park. It's hard for me to stack up stuff, any kind of lineup in San Francisco. It just does not generally work out. But I mean, Mahle, as you mentioned, he's just been god awful. 13% walk rate to righties. We know the lefties. He's got a 37% fly ball rate. That's not good. His WOBA to the right side's 4.11. I mean, he's been getting beat around a little bit. The A's have been good. I mean, they got some fly ball hitters. Langeliers get the ball up in there. Giloff, Kurtz, 25%. Soderstrom, almost 27%. So I think the top of that lineup can get the ball up in the air. I think it's interesting play. I think that one is more, like I said, I got them a little bit more ranked down the list. If I had 20 teams, I'd probably include and have maybe one or two Braves or A stacks. But, I mean, if it was the other way around, I'll tell you, I'd probably have the A's in my top 2 or 3 stacks today, to be truthful. So just because of the park, I just bump them way down. But, I mean, if we're in Sacramento, I'm talking about the A's and how good this is going to be here tonight. And, they're going to kick Mahle's ass. So, I think it's more of a park factor, but I think they're definitely in play.
Yeah, Mahle's not good. The Giants bullpen's also not good, but they're rested. I mean, they only had one guy throw pitches in the last 3 days. So they are rested. So you're going to see fresh arms constantly throughout that game soon as Mahle's out of there. So that does bump them down along with the ballpark for me. So I do have them down my list, but I do think Kurtz, Soderstrom are in play anytime they're on the slate, especially against a guy who struggles against left-handed power. Those two guys in particular. I won't fault anyone for going to the A's, but I much prefer the D-backs, the Blue Jays probably, obviously the Brewers, and probably even the Braves and the Dodgers more so than the A's, personally myself. But I do get the reasoning there. Gyiraszin, your favorite pitching combination, your top 3 stacks, and a home run call if you have one before we get out of here.
Man, my favorite pitching combination is gonna have to on DK now. I'll say it'd probably be Perez and maybe Jump. And more I was thinking about it. Even my our boy Matt was even texting me saying he doesn't mind Manaea either at that price. So I kind of leave him in. Now FanDuel, I will say it's totally different. Skubal is the top pitcher on FanDuel. I think you got to include Wu in there, Braxton in there. So there's a few other guys that are I think are in play on FanDuel. So on stacks, DK, I got I'm gonna have the Brewers are in there for sure. The Blue Jays, D-backs, I think are all in play for me. On FanDuel, I got Phillies, Nats, and then I'd have the Brewers. So I have them a little bit higher up. Home run call. I'm going to steal yours, and I'm going to say Bryce Terang, just because I said the Tigers pre-show before we even got on. The Tigers should trade Scooball to the Brewers for Terang. That'd be good for me. But I know it won't happen. It was just, pipe dream, because I'd sure like to have a power hitting second baseman on my Tigers. But I think it's a little bit different. So home run for me, I'm going Terang, and I thought about another one, but I'll just I'll throw it out there anyway. I think I like the D-backs too, so I'm gonna go with Nolan Arenado too. That's my long shot, Nate.
All right, I like that. For me, my favorite pitching combination, I'm gonna take a shot on Imanaga here. I like him. I like the ownership. I like the pivot off of a guy like his Savage. He's gonna be much higher owned, and I like his GPP upside here against this Mets lineup. So I like him quite a bit. And then I'm going to go Martin Perez as well. I just like everything we talked about earlier on him. Offense for me, Brewers number 1, D-backs number 2. And then I'm going to throw in the Dodgers as a low-owned Dodgers team here against Joe Ryan. I know it feels scary, but I like those lefty more so. Probably more as a mini stack. Freeman for sure in there. I like him, Max Muncy. So I do like that. My home run call, I'm going to go to the D-backs as well, but I'm going to go to second base. I'm not going to go to Bryce Terang. I'm going to go to Ketel Marte against a lefty there in Matthew Liberatore. I like Ketel Marte a ton. And then I will go to the Cubs as well, and hopefully he's in there. But I'm going to go to a guy at the back half, likely, at least projected. Carson Kelly gets one here against Sean Manaea to go up against your little Manaea boy there. Carson Kelly would be my long shot at 2,800. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Helps us out a ton. For Gyiraszin, I'm Nades. Good luck tonight in those contests. We'll see you guys next time. We're out of here. Peace.